This is Neonwa, your daily dose of manga and manhwa recap. One channel, infinite stories. Follow for more. Choi Hyung-jun had arrived. Upon realizing who it was, the main character looked through the peephole and saw Choi Hyung-jun standing outside, holding a box. He opened the door and invited him in. But as Choi Hyung-jun attempted to step inside, a blue shield blocked his entry. A system notification appeared, indicating that Choi Hyung-jun was unqualified to enter. Confused, Choi Hyung-jun read the notification aloud, questioning its meaning. The main character, looking at the system window, realized the issue. Reflecting on the situation, he speculated whether no one could enter his home unless registered as his vassal. Choi Hyung-jun then handed the box to the main character, explaining that he had brought all items that could be used as weapons. Expressing gratitude, the main character opened the box to find knives and a toolkit inside. He then commanded the system to open the store, purchasing 5 bottles of water and 5 packets of ramen. Suddenly, the purchased items materialized out of nowhere. Choi Hyung-jun, witnessing this, was taken aback. The main character placed the supplies into the box and handed it back to Choi Hyung-jun, requesting that he take them to the first floor and leave them at the entrance. Choi Hyung-jun hesitated, questioning the safety of such a task. The main character reassured him, explaining that goblins were only active in broad daylight. He then contemplated the necessity of recruiting the people who had been fighting the goblins. In his mind, he envisioned himself possessing ample food, while others bowed before him in desperation. He believed that once people realized he had food, they would have no choice but to seek him out. Returning to reality, he informed Choi Hyung-jun that he had a plan, urging him to proceed. Choi Hyung-jun, still uncertain, asked if he should simply leave the supplies and return. The main character nodded affirmatively. With a bow, Choi Hyung-jun agreed and departed. As Choi Hyung-jun left, the main character considered repaying him for his efforts. He accessed the system window and created a quest specifically for Choi Hyung-jun. The quest required him to deliver the supplies to the first floor within 24 hours, with a reward of a small amount of experience points and no penalty for failure. Seeing the quest, Choi Hyung-jun was slightly surprised. The main character explained that completing the quest would grant experience points. Choi Hyung-jun, intrigued, likened it to leveling up in a game. The main character confirmed his assumption, informing him that he was currently at level 9 and would receive valuable rewards upon leveling up. Encouraged, Choi Hyung-jun determinedly agreed to the task. Approaching the stairwell, Choi Hyung-jun glanced at the sign and began descending. He traveled from the 20th floor down to the first, eventually emerging from the building while panting heavily. Reassuring himself, he placed the box down but soon noticed shadowy figures approaching. Startled, he feared they were goblins and decided he needed to escape. However, as he turned to flee, he slipped, falling alongside the box of supplies. Wincing in pain, tears welled in his eyes. He urged his body to move, pleading with himself to get up. As the shadows loomed closer, he instinctively shielded himself with his arms. Just then, a voice called out, asking if he was all right. To his surprise, the approaching figures were not goblins, but the same people who had been fighting them earlier. The scene shifted to the main character. A system window appeared, displaying a message indicating that a subject without permitted entry was attempting to enter. The main character looked at the system window in confusion, questioning what was happening. He pondered whether it could be the people he had seen outside, engaged in battle. Activating his ultimate skill, he summoned his ultimate eyes ability. A black aura surrounded him, and his eyes turned dark. Determined to understand the situation, he used his ability to observe what was happening. Through his ultimate eyes, he saw Choi Hyung-jun among the people fighting against the goblins. Meanwhile, a female archer informed one of her companions that the apartment building before them was the one from which someone had thrown a ramen packet. A man dressed in black questioned whether this meant the building contained food. Another man, clad in a tracksuit, affirmed the possibility, pointing out that their rations were running low. The scene shifted back to the main character, who dispelled his ultimate eyes ability. He realized that these were the same people he had previously seen battling the goblins. At that moment, another system notification appeared before him, stating that individuals meeting the requirements for citizenship were approaching. It inquired whether he would like to propose citizenship to them. Contemplating the prompt, the main character recalled that in expanding his territory, he had the ability to forcefully grant citizenship to those within it, but outsiders were given a choice. He scratched his head, considering that if they had a choice they could also reject his offer. Frustrated, he wondered what his next course of action should be. Just then, a knock sounded at his door. The main character turned to his video doorbell, which revealed someone ringing it. Muttering that he should check, he approached the doorbell monitor and saw that the visitor was none other than Choi Hyung-jun. Pressing the button to speak, the main character waited as Choi Hyung-jun greeted him from the other side, asking if he was there. The main character responded, acknowledging his presence and asking him to wait a moment. Another system window appeared, notifying him that citizen Choi Hyung-jun was in the middle of a quest. It asked whether he would like to modify the quest. The main character affirmed, and the system granted him the ability to edit the quest parameters. He altered the quest to require treating 6 guests to a meal. The system window updated, reflecting the changes. Observing Choi Hyung-jun reading the modified quest through the video doorbell, the main character confirmed that it was a new quest. He then instructed Choi Hyung-jun to inform the newcomers that they would receive food first. Choi Hyung-jun agreed and turned toward the group, explaining that they would be offered a meal. Since the main character's territorial expansion had reached the corridor, the newcomers could not yet enter. After relaying the situation, Choi Hyung-jun reassured the main character via the video doorbell that they would proceed accordingly. Pleased, the main character thanked him. He then directed the system window to propose citizenship to all 6 individuals who had entered his territory. The system displayed their names: Ha Dong-jeon, Kang Deok-soo, Kim Go-young, Yoo Hyun, Kim Gyeon, and Moon Byung-ho. With citizenship granted, the 6 individuals were now permitted entry. A new system window appeared, stating that access to the 30th floor had been granted to all 6 individuals. As they entered, another notification indicated that the number of citizens had reached 10. This resulted in a 10% increase in the experience and money earned by the citizens. The main character, surprised and delighted, exclaimed about the bonus experience points and money. As the 6 individuals moved through the corridor, they considered how beneficial these buffs would be for their monster hunts. They welcomed the advantages wholeheartedly. The system displayed a citizen management panel, showing the 6 new citizens along with their trust levels toward the main character. The current population now stood at 10 out of 600. Examining the data, the main character noted that a level 23 individual would be as strong as the Calican bird monster he had previously defeated. He selected Ha Dong-jeon's profile, observing that his trust level was 19, and that his awakened ability was baseball throw, a D-rank skill. The ability consumed stamina to triple the power of a thrown ball. The main character deduced that, depending on who wielded it, such a skill could serve as a powerful weapon against monsters. He resolved to gradually increase Ha Dong-jeon's trust level over time. Directing the system, the main character adjusted the experience distribution rate for the 6 individuals to 70%. Once the system confirmed the change, he relaxed, satisfied that it was done. He concluded that he only needed to assign them quests to hunt monsters, allowing him to earn both experience and money effortlessly. It felt as if he were auto-hunting in a game. He envisioned his citizens battling monsters on his behalf. However, he reminded himself that he needed to get to know them in due time, as they could be the key to reuniting with his family. A system notification suddenly appeared, informing him that Ha Dong-jeon's trust had increased. The main character, startled, wondered what had triggered this change. More notifications followed, revealing that the trust levels of Kim Go-young and Yoo Hyun had also risen. Surprised, the main character speculated about the cause. Meanwhile, the scene shifted to Choi Hyung-jun's apartment, where he welcomed the 6 individuals. They expressed gratitude for his hospitality. His wife, Park Hae-won, questioned him about the situation. He assured her that he would explain later but requested her help in preparing food. She hesitated momentarily before agreeing, instructing the newcomers to wait. Ha Dong-jeon respectfully thanked her. Observing Choi Hyung-jun, Ha Dong-jeon curiously asked what kind of person Jae-hyun was. Scratching his head, Choi Hyung-jun admitted that he was not entirely sure. He only knew that Jae-hyun was his neighbor. Processing this information, Ha Dong-jeon contemplated what it could mean. Choi Hyung-jun directed the newcomers to the dining area, remarking that Jae-hyun was an intriguing individual. He acknowledged that the electricity, water, and other essentials they were benefiting from were thanks to Jae-hyun's efforts. Ha Dong-jeon deduced that Jae-hyun must be a metahuman. He unzipped his tracksuit, revealing a ramen packet inside, and speculated about the extent of Jae-hyun's abilities. Determined to impress Jae-hyun, Ha Dong-jeon concluded that his power must be extraordinary, capable of sustaining electricity, food, and water. In an apocalyptic world, Choi Hyung-jun offered them the opportunity to take a shower while waiting for the meal. Two of the girls in the group became excited at the thought of warm water. Choi Hyung-jun confirmed that warm water was available, a part of Jae-hyun's abilities. He directed them to two bathrooms so they could bathe simultaneously. The archer girl was taken aback, while another girl bowed in gratitude. However, another companion interjected, suggesting that they should defeat Jae-hyun. Ha Dong-jeon, angered, rebuked him, emphasizing the importance of gaining Jae-hyun's favor rather than antagonizing him. He reminded his group that their primary objective was to obtain food and instructed them to act cautiously. They all agreed. Noticing Byung-ho's solemn expression, Byung-ho, a weak-looking boy, seemed distant. Ha Dong-jeon reassured him, apologizing for involving him. Byung-ho dismissed the apology, stating that he had chosen to come willingly. Ha Dong-jeon promised they would gather food and then visit Byung-ho's grandmother. Though Byung-ho agreed, he harbored doubts, fearing that it was already too late for his grandmother. Encouraging Byung-ho to remain hopeful, Ha Dong-jeon suggested they could reach her house if they worked together. Just then, a sound caught their attention. Someone was opening the apartment door. As the silhouette of a man appeared, Ha Dong-jeon instinctively tightened his grip on a baseball. Feeling a sudden intensity in the air, they realized that the figure was none other than the main character. As he stepped inside, he assured them that he would help them all. Ha Dong-jeon, contemplating the situation, thought that perhaps this person could save them from their despair. The group of 6 sat at the dining table with the main character, Jae-hyun. Park Hae-won, the wife of Choi Hyung-jun, apologized, mentioning that the space was a bit cramped. However, Dong-jeon reassured her that it was fine since they had arrived unannounced. Just then, Choi Hyung-jun emerged from the back, carrying several bowls of rice. With a warm smile, he announced that the food was ready. He began serving bowls of rice to everyone, and as they received their portions, their reactions varied. Some were shocked, while others were delighted. Park Hae-won hesitantly admitted that she wasn't sure if the meal would suit their taste. The dishes were laid out before them: eggs, vegetables, egg rolls, and rice. Yoo Hyun, the archer, picked up a piece of egg roll and took a bite. The moment she tasted it, she let out a delighted exclamation, declaring it to be absolutely amazing. Park Hae-won credited Jae-hyun for the ingredients, explaining that without them, she would have only been able to serve rice and tangerines. A system window appeared before Jae-hyun, displaying Park Hae-won's trust level at 50 and her current level at 5. He found it surprising that her trust had reached 50 even before Choi Hyung-jun's. As everyone at the table prepared to eat, they expressed their gratitude for the meal. The first bites astonished them, as the food exceeded their expectations. A man in a black t-shirt ate quickly, while Yoo Hyun savored the flavors, commenting on how delicious the egg roll was. Another girl in the group recognized the taste, noting that it resembled the sweet egg rolls commonly served in Japanese restaurants. She directed her observation toward Park Hae-won, who confirmed it and encouraged them to enjoy. At that moment, the youngest daughter, Seo-yeon, called out to her mother, expressing her desire for an egg roll. Park Hae-won gently patted her daughter's head, promising to make more once their guests had finished eating. However, upon hearing this, Seo-yeon's eyes welled up with tears. Sensing the child's disappointment, Yoo Hyun intervened, offering to share her egg roll with Seo-yeon. The little girl's eyes sparkled with excitement as she eagerly climbed onto Yoo Hyun's lap. Yoo Hyun picked up a piece of egg roll with her chopsticks and encouraged Seo-yeon to say, "Ah," feeding her with a smile. Seo-yeon beamed with joy after tasting it. Watching the exchange, Park Hae-won hesitated, murmuring that perhaps that wasn't the best idea. At that moment, Jae-hyun suggested that Choi Hyung-jun and his wife join them at the table, assuring them there was plenty of food for everyone. The couple accepted, sitting down to eat together with the rest of the group. As everyone enjoyed the meal, Jae-hyun reflected on how long it had been since he had eaten a meal like this. As he took a bite of egg roll, a memory surfaced: his mother's tiffin box, filled with carefully prepared side dishes. On the lid, the words, "For my son," were written. A sense of longing washed over him as he hoped that his family was safe. After the meal, Seo-yeon turned to her mother, sleepily admitting that she was tired. Park Hae-won picked her up, assuring her that it was time to rest. The eldest daughter, Naeon, also stated that she would accompany them. Jae-hyun then shifted his attention back to the group, reminding them of the unfinished discussion. He asked why they couldn't travel to their grandmother's house despite its proximity. Dong Jian explained that the area was overrun with goblins and that Byung-ho's grandmother was trapped there. Jae-hyun, intrigued, inquired further. Dong Jian elaborated that the goblins had taken over the underground parking lot of the apartment complex, using it as their base. Jae-hyun pondered this, recalling the underground layout. Dong Jian continued, estimating that there were at least a few thousand goblins inhabiting the area. Jae-hyun, deep in thought, considered their situation. The apartment's ultimate shutting ability only worked up to the 30th floor, meaning the goblins could infiltrate via the underground parking lot. Dong Jian confirmed that all apartment entrances were connected to the underground, making it too dangerous to leave. Jae-hyun then asked about possible escape routes. Dong Jian admitted that their initial plan had been to use the side roads, but they had encountered a monster far more dangerous than the goblins. Hearing this, Jae-hyun was visibly taken aback. He pressed for more details, and the group recalled a creature resembling a wolf or a bear. They had only managed to escape the goblins because the beast had been engaged in a battle against them. Jae-hyun contemplated the description but received no definitive answer, as the darkness had obscured their view. Leaning back, he acknowledged that they couldn't avoid danger forever. Dong Jian agreed, but pointed out their limitations. When Jae-hyun asked what those limitations were, Yoo-hyun explained that they relied on bows and baseballs as weapons, and their supplies were running low. Jae-hyun confidently stated that he could solve that problem and requested to inspect their bows and baseballs. Dong Jian handed them over without hesitation. Jae-hyun then accessed the system window, selecting the option to list the items. The system prompted him with a listing fee of 15,300,000 won for the compound bow. Without hesitation, he confirmed the listing. He then turned to the group and asked if everyone could use a bow. Their uncertain expressions answered his question. Without wasting time, Jae-hyun ordered 5 sets of bows and arrows from the system window. In an instant, the weapons materialized from thin air. He encouraged the group to practice, emphasizing that they would need to rely on them. A system window then displayed trust updates. Ha Dongjian's trust increased by 19, Kim Ga-young's by 70, and Yoo-hyun's by 30. Jae-hyun was stunned by the rapid trust growth, realizing that if they worked together, they might have a real chance at saving Byung-ho's grandmother. Another system window confirmed that Moon Byung-ho's trust had risen significantly. Dong Jae-on, recognizing the advantage of their new weapons, acknowledged that their hunting efficiency would increase drastically. One of the group members pointed out that with Jae-hyun's ability, they no longer needed to risk retrieving spent arrows. Raising his hand, Jae-hyun signaled for a pause. Before proceeding, he emphasized the need to significantly reduce the goblin numbers first. Dong Jian agreed and asked when they would start hunting. Jae-hyun answered with determination. The hunt would begin tomorrow. Dong Jian questioned the urgency, but Jae-hyun affirmed that the sooner, the better. Dong Jian acknowledged his reasoning, and Jae-hyun assured them that they would save Byung-ho's grandmother the next day. Hearing this, Byung-ho was filled with hope. However, Dong Jian remained skeptical, asking how they would accomplish such a task. With unwavering confidence, Jae-hyun revealed his strategy. They would use bait. All the members of the group turned their attention to the main character, considering the possibility that his plan might work. However, the man with glasses cautioned that success was only assured if everything proceeded smoothly. At that moment, a system window appeared before the main character, displaying that Choi Hyung-jun had completed his quest. The quest reward of 30,000 won had been granted. The main character gazed at the system window and questioned himself, wondering if money was required. As he pondered, he realized that if he had money he could raise the level of his citizen. Folding his hands, he decided that unless absolutely necessary, he would refrain from using it for now. Another system notification appeared, stating that Choi Hyung-jun's trust had increased, reaching level 50. Loyalty had been unlocked, and his loyalty level had surpassed 30. With all the requirements met, he was now eligible to be registered as a vassal. The system then displayed Choi Hyung-jun's profile. The main character, clicking on the screen, instructed the system to register Choi Hyung-jun as a vassal. The moment this happened, Choi Hyung-jun felt a sudden change within him. He expressed his surprise to the group, stating that something had just happened to him. A system window appeared before the main character, confirming that his first vassal had been successfully registered. As a reward, he had been granted the skill Vassal Summon. The skill's description revealed that he could summon the vassal to his house, though only once every 2 hours. Another notification displayed Choi Hyung-jun's profile, highlighting his awakened ability, Strength of a Gorilla. The passive skill, ranked C, granted him strength comparable to that of a gorilla. A subsequent notification indicated that the first vassal's experience points and gold earnings from hunting would be doubled. Additionally, the ultimate eye skill enabled the main character to summon his vassal within 5 meters of his house. Noticing a plus button on the system window, the main character clicked it. A notification popped up, asking if he wanted to spend 1 million won to increase his vassal's level. Stunned by the astronomical figure, he trembled in shock. Park Haiwan, noticing his reaction, asked if something was wrong. The main character quickly dismissed her concern, saying it was nothing. Turning to Choi Hyung-jun, he inquired about how he felt. Choi Hyung-jun, overwhelmed with newfound strength, confirmed that his power was surging and asked if the main character was responsible for this transformation. The main character affirmed it. Choi Hyung-jun marveled at his rejuvenation, stating that he felt 10 years younger. As he observed his growing strength, the main character smiled slightly and handed him a bow, requesting that he join the mission. Choi Hyung-jun, taken aback, hesitated before responding. "Pardon?" The main character considered that citizens gained an additional 10% experience, whereas vassals received twice the amount. The experience points Choi Hyung-jun would earn would be staggering. Holding the bow, Choi Hyung-jun expressed sadness, but ultimately accepted the mission, stating he would do it. The main character, giving him an encouraging smile, assured him, "I'll be counting on you." The party then arrived on the first floor to begin their mission. A man in a black t-shirt questioned Dong Gyeon about the necessity of checking the first floor, pointing out the broken windows and general disrepair. Dong Gyeon insisted that they check regardless, reminding him of the main character's orders. As a rescue team, their goal was to save any survivors in the building and transport them to the 30th floor. Dong Gyeon reflected that the core of the mission was to lure large numbers of goblins into the apartment building and eliminate them. Addressing the party, he emphasized the need to find as many survivors as possible. The black t-shirt wearing man acknowledged the plan, and Dong Gyeon gave the signal to begin their search from Unit 101, warning everyone to stay alert. Upon entering Unit 101, the team grew serious as they were met with a horrifying sight: dead bodies scattered across the room. Dong Gyeon clenched his teeth and swiftly instructed the party to leave. They proceeded to another unit, only to find more corpses. Resting his hand on his forehead in frustration, Dong Gyeon lamented that there was nothing on the first floor and ordered the team to proceed to the second floor. Ascending the stairs, they encountered another gruesome scene: bloodied corpses lining the hallway. The sight made them hesitate, but Dong Gyeon quickly urged them to move on to the third floor. To their surprise, the third floor corridor was clean. Dong Gyeon began banging on an apartment door, calling out for any survivors. Yu Hiram and the others followed suit, knocking on doors and asking if anyone was inside, but no one responded. The realization that everyone might already be dead left them disheartened. Gritting his teeth, Dong Gyeon led them to the fourth floor. On the fourth floor, the team repeated their calls for survivors. This time, a shabby-looking man cautiously opened his door, suspiciously asking if they were really a rescue team. Dong Gyeon confirmed it. The man, clearly dehydrated, requested water. Dong Gyeon searched his bag and handed him a bottle. Slightly opening the door further, the man was still in disbelief that a rescue team had actually come. Dong Gyeon explained that they were fellow residents of the apartment, now working to rescue survivors. He assured the man that a safer place awaited him and urged him to come along. Shocked, the man hesitated before abruptly shutting the door in Dong Gyeon's face. However, moments later, he reopened it and welcomed them inside. Introducing himself as Hong Jung-soo, he apologized for his paranoia and extended his hand for a handshake. Dong Gyeon shook his hand and introduced himself in return, expressing his hope that they could get along. Turning to Ga-young and Hiran, Dong Gyeon instructed them to escort the rescued survivors to the 30th floor in return. They acknowledged his command. Hong Jung-soo, surprised, questioned whether they weren't leaving the apartment entirely. Just then, his son appeared, exclaiming that he had faith in being rescued and suggesting that a helicopter was likely waiting for them. Yu Hiran clarified that there was no helicopter, but going up would provide them with a warm meal and a shower. At the mention of a shower, Hong Jung-soo's daughter excitedly emerged, eager at the prospect. Behind her, Hong Jung-soo's face fell into disappointment, seemingly regretting their situation. Yu Hiran reassured her that a warm shower awaited. Overcome with joy, Hong Jung-soo's daughter rushed to the team, urging her father to stop hesitating and move quickly. Hong Jung-soo, now convinced, conceded, expressing disbelief that they were truly safe. At that moment, A system notification appeared before the main character, indicating that the number of citizens had reached 40. Consequently, the experience points and gold earnings from his citizens had increased by 90%. The main character stared at the system window, processing everything that had happened. He now had 40 citizens. Thinking through his next steps, he decided that the children and the elderly would stay at Choi Hung-jun's house first. The scene shifted to show many elderly and children gathered inside the house. Continuing his thoughts, he determined that the rest of the people would live in the corridors. Just then, Dong Yeon approached him and reported that there were exactly 40 people. They were all they could find. The main character questioned Dong Yeon, asking if that was truly everyone. Dong Yeon confirmed, stating that they had searched thoroughly from the first floor to the 29th floor. It seemed that quite a few people had never left their homes from the start. The main character acknowledged Dong Yeon's efforts and praised him for his great work. Closing his eyes, he reflected on the situation. Choi Hyung-jun's house was nearly full, and for now, that would be enough. After a brief moment, he activated his ultimate eyes. His eyes turned black, and a dark mist formed around him. Through this ability, he observed Byung-ho carrying chairs, Choi Hyung-jun, and the man with glasses working on the wiring, and Yoo Hyun and Byung-ho handling wires. He then deactivated his skill and turned to Dong Yeon, stating that they would now proceed to the second stage of the Goblin Hunt mission. The scene shifted to Dong Yeon, who gathered everyone's attention as he began his briefing. He explained their mission, to lure out the goblins hiding underground. The group would split into two teams. The first team would draw out the goblins on the first basement level and eliminate them, then move on to the second basement level to finish off the rest. The man with glasses voiced his concerns, questioning what they would do if there were far more goblins than expected. Would they risk being trapped and isolated on the first floor? He also pointed out the dangers of transporting the goblin corpses. Before he could continue, Yoo Hyun confidently declared that she would kill all of them by herself. Dong Yeon reassured the group, stating that unlike last time, they had plenty of arrows, so they would be fine. The man with glasses hesitated, but eventually conceded, acknowledging their confidence. However, at that very moment, a scream echoed through the air. Everyone turned toward the source of the sound. Goblins, a horde of them, were approaching. Yoo Hyun swiftly drew her bow, firing an arrow that eliminated two goblins. The remaining one was struck down by the man in the black t-shirt, who swung his baseball bat with deadly precision, finishing off the goblin. With the immediate threat neutralized, the man with glasses turned to the black t-shirt wearing man and questioned why he had brought a bow if he intended to use a bat. The man suddenly realized his contradiction, responding with an embarrassed, "Oh, that's right." Before the conversation could continue, Yoo Hyun pointed toward the goblin corpses, exclaiming that they were disappearing. Byung-ho speculated whether this was the main character's ability, but before he could confirm, Dong Yeon commanded the group to head down to the first basement level. Byung-ho internally acknowledged his confidence in their leader. He knew the main character had a solution. A system notification appeared before the main character, stating that the party members' trust in him had increased. Sitting in his room, he opened a bottle of water while multiple system notifications filled his vision. He thought about how, despite not intending to, he had ended up watching over everything. Another system notification informed him that Moon Byung-ho's trust had reached 50, unlocking loyalty. His loyalty had now surpassed 30. Surprised by the rapid progress, the main character mused that it had only taken a few hours. He considered this a great outcome. The more vassals he acquired, the faster his growth would be. The system displayed Byung-ho's profile, showing his loyalty at 88. The main character acknowledged that this wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Clicking on the system window, he confirmed Byung-ho's registration as a vassal. The scene shifted to the first basement level, where the party battled a swarm of goblins. Suddenly, Byung-ho's body was enveloped in blue lightning and an intense light, leaving everyone in shock. The glow was so blinding that it obscured the goblin's vision. Dong Yeon, unfazed, quickly ordered the group to run. Everyone sprinted while Dong Jeon and Yoo Hyun stayed back, firing arrows at the goblins. As an archer, Yoo Hyun used her abilities to take down multiple goblins simultaneously. However, as the goblins fell, even more arrived, hundreds of them. While running, Byung-ho noted the overwhelming number of enemies. Dong Yeon admitted that he hadn't expected to attract so many goblins. The man in the black t-shirt added that it seemed like even the ones from the second basement level had swarmed up. Urging speed, he directed everyone toward the emergency exit. The party reached the emergency exit, and the man with glasses quickly opened it, letting everyone through. Dong Yan slammed the door shut, but a goblin's hand got caught between the doorframe. The team pushed with all their strength, trying to keep the goblins out. At that critical moment, a voice boomed through the chaos telling everyone to move aside. It was none other than Choi Hung-jun, activating his gorilla strength passive skill. With a single hand, he shoved the door closed, buying time for the team. Dong Yan called out to him, and the man in the black t-shirt urged him to escape. But Choi Hung-jun was determined. He had to stop the goblins no matter what. Dong Yan reassured him that they were safe, and urged him to come up quickly. Choi Hung-jun turned to run up the stairs, but his foot slipped, sending him tumbling down. A goblin immediately approached him, ready to strike. Lying on the ground, Choi Hung-jun yelled for the others to leave him behind. Dong Yan cursed, but before the goblin could land its attack, the man in the black t-shirt lunged forward and crushed its skull with his bat. Extending his hand to Choi Hung-jun, he urged him to get up. However, more goblins rushed toward them. Just as one was about to attack, a black-purple mist enveloped Choi Hung-jun, and he vanished. The man in the black t-shirt was momentarily stunned, but had no time to process what had happened. More goblins lunged at him, and he retaliated with his bat. From the stairs above, Dong Gaeon and the others rained arrows down at the horde. Dong Gaeon shouted at the man in the black t-shirt to hurry up. The man sprinted toward the stairs as the party members yelled for him to come quickly. The scene ended with the horde of goblins closing in. Just as the party was about to escape, the scene shifted to the outside of the apartment building, where the bright moon illuminated the night sky. Elsewhere, a bear monster tore a goblin's chest open with its mouth. The creature had only one thing in mind: to kill and to continue killing. As it devoured the goblin's flesh, ripping it apart piece by piece, it muttered to itself, expressing its insatiable need for more victims. The bear monster then turned its gaze backward. Its eyes locked onto a particular apartment building, the one where the main character resided. Within one of the rooms, a light was on. Fixating on the apartment, the bear monster growled, declaring its intention to kill everyone inside.